Santorum. But first, I have wood to chop with Santorum, and this is the piece of sound that I need to talk to you about right here.
We birthed this nation from nothing. There was nothing here when we got here. I mean, yes, there were Native Americans, but candidly speaking, there isn't much Native American culture in American culture. That's just a fact.
Rick, two problems. One, it's not accurate. There is a lot of affect from the Native culture on America.
Absolutely.
And there are a lot of people here who believe in that. And this seemed like you were trying to erase diversity in the interest of some white Christian right.
No, Chris. I misspoke when I said that Native American culture isn't part of American culture. Of course it is. Of course it is. I mean, look no further than baseball. Baseball's our American pastime. You got the Braves, the Indians. I mean, come on. Wild thing. You make my heart sing. Look at football, American pastime. You got the Redskins. Oh, not them. You ever put your hand up to a piece of paper and trace that outline? You can make a nice artistic turkey, Chris. Beautiful. Lovely. Disney, Pixar, Pocahontas. Very successful. Huge successful. I like to play dice, like a little blackjack, casinos. I mean, that's part of the game. What's more American than gambling? Come on now, Chris. Come on now. I can't even think that I think that Native American culture is part of American culture. Oh. The practice of making a reservation to secure your table at a restaurant. It's more American than that. Gobble, gobble. God bless America. Welcome to the BenBen Show. I'm your host, BenBen. This episode of the BenBen Show is brought to you by New Jersey Shark Attacks. Honey, did you rent the house at the shore this summer? The kids really want to go. Fuck that. You see this shit? It's true, the sharks. We're swimming with great white sharks all the time. That's like so creepy. And they're trying to say, well, look, justification for why we shouldn't kill sharks, shark fin soup, Japan, culling of all marine life, for the sake of, the industrial marine, food processing, fishing industry. But yeah, it's weird that we're just so, look at this cohabitation, so lovely. I'm like, fuck that. Those are those people that go in the ocean where the goggles are clear. I'm like, it's not me. I want to be ignorance is bliss. Totally is. Start to extrapolate that in a meta way. Ignorance really is bliss. It's like, what's that guy? What's that philosopher is like, I feel, the guy who's like, and I also, I can't do his,
I think wisdom is the most disgusting thing you can imagine.
He's constantly his saliva, just spitting out of his, he's like, I'm jealous of stupid people because they're so happy. I don't know, but I'm okay being stupid in the ocean. We're also brought to you by DWA. Get your DWA 2.0 bomber at deplorar.com. Deplorar.com. And finally, good friend of the show, always a great sponsor. We're sponsored today by Jeremy Fragrance and fragrance1.com. Jeremy Fragrance.
Good day, guys. Jeremy Fragrance here. One of the reasons why my channel is successful, besides my outrageous, crazy honesty, that I love to have sex with women, and then I'm a little bit ashamed of my gay past, but at the same time, these people make me feel special.
Thank you, Jeremy. Also, another Jeremy Fragrance. One more time.
Just realized that these fragrance bottles are positioned very aggressively, dangerously. It's a mistake of mine and I won't place them here again. I hope that I don't forget it tomorrow. Because imagine one of these things falls down on one of the heads of the people, like in the movie Home Alone in New York City. You think, haha, funny, like in the movie. But if you are that person, it's not funny. Same as a woman tried to sue me for rape. I had sex with her, but every woman that you have sex with can try to sue you for rape if you don't give her love because she didn't respond to you for weeks and months. And, fucked up world. So crazy, stupid people out there. But you can also only decide what you do. but you can't, I don't suggest you to challenge faith. Like, why jumping out of an airplane? What is this fucking shit? Why do you have to challenge faith? Why do you have to jump out of an airplane? I don't think that's smart.
Jeremy, you're... It's so good. It's not, never even mind your more candid videos recently. You're just so... someone give him a show. I want Jeremy to move from IGTV, YouTube. I want him to have like a network. Get him something on like HGTV, something on like Comedy Central. He's so good at what he does. I don't think he even realizes how entertaining he is. It's so much more than just the perfume. I know that's what he wants to do, and we here at the BenBen Show appreciate and support Fragrance1.com and Jeremy Fragrance, a wonderful sponsor, wonderful friend of the show, of course. But he deserves. It should be like, was it Corbin, Fallon, who's competing? Jimmy Kimmel. He should have a show. He should be interviewing celebrities prime time at night with the 10 o'clock spot whenever they start. He should have a late show. Oh my, you know how good it would be for, give him a show late night where he's not allowed to prepare. You give him 3 minutes to prepare for the show. The whole show, he doesn't know who the guests are, and he has to like interview. Oh my God, so good. So good. Oh my God. It's like, oh my God. Oh, so good. Oh. Anyways, we have a great show for you today. Bill Gates believes, he's getting through a divorce. That's terrible. Earlier this year, his foundation, the Gates Foundation, along with Melinda Gates, supported dismantling racism in mathematics with a curriculum that they invested in public school systems in California, actually all around the country. Dismantling racism in mathematics. Removing racism from mathematics. I think it's a really good thing. It's very woke. It's very progressive. He's been a progressive stalwart. The viruses, he's dealing with them with Windows XP. He conquered that eventually, and now he's dealing with the coronavirus and third world hunger and viruses. He's really worked on the viruses. He really sucked at it for a while, but practice makes perfect. He's kept going and going and going, and he's been this progressive, woke stalwart for such a long time now in this country. It's wonderful. And he also has that fabulous relationship with his ex-girlfriend built into his marriage contract with Melinda, having a beach weekend every year despite being married. I think that's fantastic. What's more woke than that? It's very anti-patriarchal, very woke. I mean, we should be more like Billy in that regard. I mean, I would love to have a marriage contract. I would love to have a contract where I could sleep with my ex-girlfriend. That would be great, and it wouldn't involve me losing all my money. It would be fantastic. I think it's also very progressive. I have to do this because I really like their show, Key and Peele. And I said, it's really, if you ever watch them, I know Chappelle doesn't like Key and Peele because he believed this, the makeup of their show basically took over the Chappelle show in terms of the, having a live show and then recordings of previous skits is very Chappelle. But still, that whole thing, they're like, yeah, you know what she said? She's like, honey, you pick what restaurant you want to go to. It's like, okay, let's go here. It's like, no, I don't want to go there. Why don't you just tell me where you want to go? And I'm like, oh man, she wouldn't do it. She's like, no, you pick. I'm like, how about this way? No, I don't want to go there. Like, and I said, you know what I said to her? I said, oh, so good. They're good. I like them. The defense for Derek Chauvin, I know. If I'm not mispronouncing his name, I'm saying it's Voldemort, the person who should not be named, right? But this is important. The defense has filed for a new trial, alleging misconduct by prosecutors and the judge before guilty verdicts on murder and manslaughter charges were handed down 2 weeks ago. I had to read that just because. I don't know. I know what happened. I've done multiple videos on it, but still. Defense attorney Eric Nelson said in the filings in Hennepin County Court that Judge Cahill erred when he denied Chauvin's request for a change of venue. In this regard, change of venue, I thought that would have nipped the thing in the bud in terms of the ability of the defense to appeal on due process. That's why. It's almost like they wanted to give Minneapolis, it was like their right to hear and try Derek Chauvin on their own without a change of venue. Like, it wouldn't be the same. It would be denying Minneapolitans, Minnesotans, Minnotians, the right to get their revenge or bring justice to them directly. But in the fairness of due process in the Fifth Amendment, yeah, I think so, pretty sure. Okay, it's just it lays the foundation for an enormous protocol of change of venue in these situations regarding racial crimes and in community neighborhoods should not have change of venues for the sake of impartiality and bias by jurors. And that there's no need for a change of venue, that there's no implicit bias there. And I think that's wrong, because we've heard from alternate juror Lisa Christensen that she was worried and afraid of riots and businesses being burned down as a result of the verdict. She did go on to add that she did not feel that the defense adequately had enough facts and did not do enough to overturn the evidence offered by the prosecution. Therefore, she believed that Derek Chauvin was in fact guilty. And she didn't necessarily agree with that he was guilty on all counts, but that she would have found him guilty of some of them. But there is this bias. I think that going forward with any of these trials, there should be change of venues. We'll go into why. Nilsen noted Cahill should have granted the defense the motion for a new trial on the grounds that publicity during the proceedings threatened the fairness of the trial. Maxine Waters' comments, Joe Biden's comments, basically saying, I think we know there's enough evidence to prove guilty. I mean, you'd have to be stupid not to. I mean, you can't really say that stuff, especially on the eve of jury deliberations. It's like, it's so biased. But identity politics is part of the administration. It is what it is. It's just, we're talking about someone's life. We're talking about there's actually legitimate evidence that the knee, from a perspective bias, was on the shoulder and not the neck. Just saying. Procedurally, I've always felt that regardless, the maximum restraint maneuver suggests in the process of the maximum restraint maneuver, under the code in Minneapolis trained by police, that the knee, if it's on the shoulder where it's supposed to be, you're supposed to offer the suspect relief in the recovery position, turning them to the side, which is what was offered to Anton Black. It was offered to... Well, unfortunately, Freddie Gray's situation was a bit more complicated, but the ultimate issue is framing everything in race. It is a bit problematic when then you go to the facts of the case. In this circumstance, Chauvin wasn't found guilty of being a racist. He was found guilty of violating the code of ethics as an officer, upholding safety protocols. He was completely negligent. Seemed like he didn't care about this person's life. If you want to throw in racism, fine. But it's unequivocal that even if the knee was not on the neck, he should have performed, he should have acted sooner, should have given George Floyd relief and turned him to his side, checked on him. The fact that he didn't turn him over until the ambulance actually came, I think, is grossly negligent, but that wasn't the reason why he was found guilty. And so, not only did such acts escalate the potential for prejudice in these proceedings, Nelson went on and added, they may result in a far-reaching, chilling effort on defendants' ability to procure witnesses, especially in high-profile cases as those of Mr. Chauvin's co-defendants, to testify on their behalf. The publicity was pervasive and so prejudicial before and during the trial that it amounted to a structural defect in the proceedings. I would add that David Fowler, the 17-year veteran of Maryland's, the defense's expert medical witness, who believed that Chauvin died from not asphyxiation, but heart palpitations, heart issues, all stemming from previous drug use, all things being equal. He said that it was not a homicide. This is the same medical expert that testified in the Freddie Gray case that the officers in that situation were negligent. Freddie Gray was black, Baltimore. Officers in that case were black and white, some of whom were Freddie Gray's friends from childhood. But the medical expert determined that those people, those officers of the law, were negligent, and that was a homicide. So the idea that that medical expert is now, his medical license is under review, all the cases he's ever reviewed are now being framed in terms of racial bias because he was a defense witness for Chauvin's defense team. I think it shows the bias. It shows inherently this. It's ridiculous. No one wants to talk about that. This man seems impartial in that regard. They want to look like the Anton Black situation under similar circumstances. Disregard the Freddie Gray situation where he determined the officers were guilty. Well, was it because some of the officers were white and he had felt compassion, so his racism was like lowered? It's like, what are we talking about? There is this problem of identity politics being such a power grab that the power obfuscates just impartiality to its core. And I hope that change of venue in some of these cases that are ongoing in the United States is taken under consideration. Sequestering of the jury might be ideal. I mean, what happens to the other officers? I'm not sure. It would be a slap in the face to show Judge Cahill if the other cases involving I forget the officer Gomez, the one who has the contradictory body cam footage to the paramedic who had the sidewalk view that showed the knee from the perspective of the sidewalk that looked like as it was pressing on George Floyd's neck forever. It was disgusting and vile. And then we see, as the paramedics come, the same timestamp juxtaposed together. It looks as though, from the perspective of the sidewalk, the knee is still in the neck, but from our perspective, sideways, closer to George Floyd, that the knee is, in fact, not on the neck. It's on the shoulder. The shin is crossing the neck without pressure, making it appear from a 90-degree angle offset from the sidewalk, that, in fact, this officer Chauvin has kept his knee on this man's neck even after the paramedics have been called. Now that they've arrived, still knee on the neck, which objectively speaking seems absurd. Why would you do that if you felt this person was in a needed medical emergency? Why would you keep the knee on the neck? Why would the other officers allow such a thing? But I digress. It's all about perspective, and the jury didn't see it that way. The other part of the case that's interesting is that all the jurors were asked about biases, during jury selection. Did you attend Black Lives Matter events? Did you go to George Floyd protests? These are enough. These questions, a yes to any of them, you will be disqualified unequivocally. But a juror by the name of Brandon Marshall, who is black, attended an August 28th event to commemorate Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream speech, the March on Washington. Floyd's brother and sister, Philanese and Bridget Lloyd, and relatives of others have been shot by police or addressed the crowd. Brandon Mitchell, a juror at the Chauvin trial, was there. It shows Mitchell of the picture that was posted on social media of him standing with two cousins wearing a t-shirt with a picture of King and the words "Get your knee off our necks" and Black Lives Matter for Black Lives, BLM for Black Lives Matter. Chauvin's knee on Floyd's neck, 9 minutes, 29 seconds last May, as Floyd said repeatedly he couldn't breathe. Mitchell, 31, acknowledged being at the event and that his uncle posted the picture, but said he doesn't recall wearing or owning the shirt. Okay, it's very coincidental, I guess. Mitchell was one of 12 jurors. He's quoted as saying, "I've never been to D.C. The opportunity to go to D.C. and be around thousands of black people sounded great. I just thought I'd attend. Good opportunity to be part of something." Again, jurors were asked if he attended rallies relating to George Floyd or BLM. He said no to all these questions. It's not necessarily enough for a mistrial or a new trial, I should say, but it's suggestive of a bias in terms of just like the coverage and the fact that this juror somehow attended this event, didn't care about lying during jury selection, because I don't know how you can parse, oh, well, I didn't really engage in anything directly associated with the trial or George Floyd. I didn't recall wearing that shirt that said "Get your knees off our neck," which is directly related to the trial that I'm a juror on, but to say that that's not enough to to at least put the question of bias in the jury pool into people's heads when they're considering how fair the process was for Derek Chauvin. That such a conclusion of no change. It didn't affect the outcome, or that thought probably wasn't shared with the rest of the jury pool. And Lisa Christensen's beliefs of fears of riots and businesses being burned down and not wanting to have to go through that again probably wasn't shared by anyone else. I don't know. I'm just speaking in terms of just venue, and perhaps the fact that he was found guilty of all 3 charges, including second-degree murder with intent. His intent was to do harm? That's a hard one for me. I think he is guilty, unequivocally, of negligence. But the fact that the medical examiner in that case, his medical license is under review just for being part of the defense, and he thought the officers in the Freddie Gray situation were guilty, shows that there's a crazy guilt by association. Like, don't ever stand in front of the movement. We will come after you and destroy you. I mean, you have a doctor signing a petition, Roger Mitchell, look at all the hundreds of doctors around the country, based off the Frazier body cam, a civilian's body cam, a civilian's cell phone video, which is contradicted by an officer's body cam, just from a perspective basis. They disregard this. Your doctors, they don't care. They're like, no, this person's awful. This doctor should be, his medical license should be reviewed, and all the cases he's ever worked on should be reviewed. He seems like he has a police bias, and it's racial. And again, the conflation of race and police is scary. Very, very scary. It should be policing, and the process of training officers. But again, here we are. What do you think of this tie? I never worn this tie, ever. I bought it in Paris at Charvet. It's kind of cool because it's like they changed the label to match the tie. See that? It's like it's the same pattern as the tie. I think it's really kind of neat because it's completely unnecessary. It's very decadent. Borelli shirts, love Borelli. Bespoke, checked blue. Probably can't tell. I don't know what my lighting looks like today. And this is Turnbull and Asher, I think. By the way, never ever do custom. Turnbull and Asher is a famous company. Custom shirts are a little too close to the body. Like, they want, like, oh, one of your arms is longer than the other. I don't want that to be shown. You don't exacerbate these custom, like, oh, you have a hunch in your back. We're gonna adjust the shirt to match that. No. Like, the whole thing of ready to wear is like a silhouette that's perfect, and it kind of masks all the problem. Your shoulders slope down to where it looks like you have like no like traps or muscle. No, we're gonna enhance that by making it match perfectly with your shitty shoulders and like silhouette. There's certain things that you want to be careful of that are gimmicky when it comes to like, oh, I'm successful now. I can get some nice things for myself. Cool, Last thing you want to see is someone like me. I mean, before I got stuff that was like made for me, so to speak, I looked ridiculous because like I'm 6'6". I have to get clothes like if I'm gonna dress up that are made for me. I have to. It looks ridiculous otherwise. At the very least, they have to be tailored. But the shirts, that's a whole thing. I told you guys a story a long time ago of when I went to a shirt maker in New York. Won't say the name. Fuck it. Paris shirt maker. Very famous. They do investment bankers to executives to people on Broadway. All sorts. But when I went there for a fitting for like my final thing before picking out like my patterns, like the final fit of the mold, right? Like the third or fourth fitting for like the first shirt to then keep going. The guy said to me, and it's really disturbing, I'm like, I don't really like how boxy this is. He's like, it just didn't fit right. It was too loose. He's like, oh, it doesn't matter. You can wear your jacket over it. Like, then why am I here? Why am I here? And I kind of realized that was my second experience after going to Turnbull and Asher where everything was too fitted. This is pointless. I don't like it. It's too me. Like, I know, I'm overweight. I don't have any, muscles. It's all at the time. Now I'm I'm good. But, like, it was like, what is the point of this? Isn't it supposed to hide my flaws? Like, there's the whole thing of Bespoke is, like, there's kind of a contradictory, like, it should counter your flaws. Like the guys have to think, I'm not trying to make something for him. I'm trying to make something, or she. I'm trying to make something for him that maximizes his aesthetic. Like button stance, for example. If you go to like a shirt maker or something like that, or a suit maker, the standard button stance for jackets is like at the waist, the natural waist. And sometimes, unfortunately, depending on the way you're built, and I think aesthetically speaking in general, unless you're in really good shape, or even if you're not, say you have a longer torso than legs, you're going to give yourself this weird pear shape, particularly if you have double vents, which most suits have. And it's going to kind of billow, and it's not going to look right. You want to maximize kind of like an inverted V. If I could give someone an example, like, well, all my suits now, the button stance is lower because I like it lower, because I have a longer torso. And I don't want to like make it look like I'm cutting down my torso unnecessarily. And then having this button stance way up, I've always felt like there's too much fabric in terms of length proportion between here and here, like that, and then like the rest of the jacket. And I don't like to have shorter jackets. It's another thing, the weird thing where they're like, hey, well, it's more in vogue now not to have long jackets. I'm like, I could understand maybe a 1/4 inch or something like that, or 1/2 inch even, but the idea that your ass is showing while you're walking around wearing a suit, that doesn't make any sense. Or that worse yet, your suit pants look like jeans that are sprayed on, and even just like walking around, I can like feel the fabric of the suit pant behind my knee, like on my hamstrings, like they're sprayed on jeans. Like, it's not the way a suit's supposed to work. The lines are supposed to kind of like, it's supposed to be like, a suit should dress you like you're wearing pajamas. You should feel really comfortable in it. It shouldn't be constricting. This whole like, oh, fitted means like it's a glove. No, it's counter. No. That's a jean thing. You got to be careful. And then the other thing, they like this fashion industry fucking guys over the jeans. Like you can't do I think I have a picture of this guy. That's the fashion industry. It's like, oh, he's a male model. No, he's not. And high-waisted would be good on him. And when he dresses up those jeans, he wears a jacket, he's going to look ridiculous because the shirt's going to be way too long. They should work on these things. I'm just saying, maybe I'll take care of it. I'll do something with it. Make some jeans. BenBen. Oh, BenBen commercial for jeans. Let me think. You hate me. I love you. Forever. I'm going to do my Zoolander. BenBen jeans. I could do it. I could be like a multi-threat podcast, writing, stocks, bonds, and then like, I don't know, like also Tom Ford, just Nocturnal Animals. Boom. God, that's such a good movie. Very underrated. Cannonball coming. Don't have a cup. Coffee. Chocolate milk. That's good. Okay, I'm good. Noted sociopath and former founder of Theranos, the now defunct blood testing company, is finally facing federal criminal charges for defrauding investors and defrauding everyone. A fake company with false data she just made up. I think she was a dropout Stanford 2003, and her company dissolved in 2018. At some point, she was worth, based on stock, like hypothetical value in terms of like interest, 4.5 billion, but not anymore. She did marry an heir, so she'll be fine. She's pregnant with his baby, so at the very least, she'll get child support payments. At the very least, even if there's a prenup. So good for her in that regard. Sociopaths, psychopaths, trying to just get their ends. She's done it. I don't know how you do it. You're facing criminal charges for defrauding people. You find an heir who can date anyone. He picks her. She's good at what she does. She is. She just is. Attorneys for Ms. Holmes argued Tuesday at the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Northern District of California. The case has been put off because of COVID. Built a sweeping case on anecdotal evidence and urged a federal judge to restrict the prosecutor's evidence of what they could present to the jury in late August. The other co-defendant, former lover of Ms. Holmes, Sunny Balwani, was also accused of deceiving investors and patients by promising the blood testing technology could do more than it actually could. the most interesting things about Holmes are not like the evidence in the defrauding of investors case. I mean, that'll be interesting if anything of substance comes out in the public. I mean, she's found guilty. She's not, those fine. But the strangest things about her, the most like kind of like that strike you as most odd, is her like changing of her voice to appear more powerful and like trustworthy. Apparently, women with deeper voices is like a psychological affectation that we've just come to accept, and it's just natural, is that women with deeper voices are more believable, they're more trustworthy. So she, whether this is true or not in terms of her intention, she did change her voice, it seems like, according to professors and all these people that know her. Very little evidence of her not having a deep voice, but there are a few tapes here and there, and people knew her from college, like, no, that's not the way she talks. She's like a flighty, girly voice. And then it's she's now like, well, I think like, I'm basically the hemoglobin in our
test. I think that it should be, because it's the first step in getting the most valuable information about yourself, about your body, about your health that you need to live the way you want to live. And so, I've talked before about the fact that the thing we're most proud of is when someone comes out of one of those wellness centers. Exactly right. And I think people talk a lot about starting companies, and I'll talk with people sometimes and they'll say, oh, I want to start a business. And my question is always, why? Because there's got to be a mission, there's got to be a reason that you're doing it, which are our service centers inside of pharmacies, and starting in Walgreens, now in Arizona, so that people can go get a test done after work or on a weekend and begin to engage in this process of getting information about their body. I appreciate that. It's a really big deal to me, because it's an opportunity to...
Strange. Very, very psychopathic behavior, but again, doesn't mean that you've done anything wrong. Though that, in conjunction with the fact that you tell people that your husky is an actual domesticated wolf, is a little odd. The fact that you run a blood testing company and allow for narcissistic purposes, in terms of verifying narcissistic personality disorder, you allow your husky to have a handler that's just designed to walk around the lab and pick up poop of the dog. You allow a dog in a blood testing lab, sterile environments, to poop everywhere, and you hire someone to come around and collect the poop and clean up after the wolf. It's crazy. And perhaps most ridiculous is during her depositions, the numerous psychologists have looked at her behavior. I know they did this on TV to get some airtime, but apparently this is true. She would mirror the behavior of the U.S. prosecutors that were interviewing her, where she constantly said, I don't remember, or I don't know. That's usually what detectives do in cases to drop the guard of the suspect they're interviewing, is they mirror their behavior, or they restate what the suspect says back to them. And then it kind of makes them like, oh, this is friendly. And they start to drop their guard, they feel more comfortable, and they say something they're not supposed to say, or they never would have said otherwise. They indict themselves, essentially. But here, Liz, I know, you know her as well as I, you can call her Liz, she takes the mannerisms of the prosecutors and throws it right back at them. That's very calculating and very, very, it's very, very creepy. I don't know. I look forward to seeing what happens. Doesn't see she's pregnant. It doesn't seem like, I don't know what she's facing. First-time offenders, a child. She have another adult. I mean, at trial, she could do this all on the other guy who's like 45, say it was his idea and she was coerced. Who knows what the defense's real plan is when it gets down to the nuts and bolts of it, and facing a jury. Like, I was a child. I loved him, and then he like took advantage. You don't know. You don't really know at this point in time. Her memory of I don't knows could all of a sudden change. It's the best thing about I don't knows. They're not definitive. You're not like recanting anything. You're just like, oh, well, I remember he said this. Stockholm syndrome. My lover came up with this brilliant defrauding of investors idea of Sonny, and he seduced me, and I'm just a kid. It's possible. I don't know. We'll see. Have any of you seen the new cisgender intersectionality agency's recruitment video? Want to see it? It's good. I like it. It made me feel like I want to join the cisgender intersectional intersectionality agency. It's kind of cool. I'm a big Jason Bourne fan. Go.
When I was 17, I quoted Zora Neale Hurston's How It Feels to Be Colored Me in my college application essay. The line that spoke to me stated simply, I am not tragically colored. There is no sorrow dammed up in my soul nor lurking behind my eyes. I do not mind at all. At 17, I had no idea what life would bring, but Zora's sentiment articulated so beautifully how I felt as a daughter of immigrants then and now. Nothing about me was or is tragic. I am perfectly made. I can wax eloquent on complex legal issues in English while also belting Guayaquil de mis amores in Spanish. I can change a diaper with one hand and console a crying toddler with the other. I am a woman of color. I am a mom. I am a cisgender millennial who's been diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder. I am intersectional, but my existence is not a box-checking exercise. I am a walking declaration, a woman whose inflection does not rise at the end of her sentences, suggesting that a question has been asked. I did not sneak into CIA. My employment was not and is not the result of a fluke or slip through the cracks. I earned my way in, and I earned my way up the ranks of this organization. I am educated, qualified, and competent, and sometimes I struggle. I struggle feeling like I could do more, be more to my 2 sons, and I struggle leaving the office when I feel there's so much more to do. I used to struggle with imposter syndrome, but at 36, I refuse to internalize misguided patriarchal ideas of what a woman can or should be. I am tired of feeling like I'm supposed to apologize for the space I occupy rather than intoxicate people with my effort, my brilliance. I am proud of me, full stop. My parents left everything they knew and loved to expose me to opportunities they never had. Because of them, I stand here today a proud first-generation Latina and officer at CIA. I am unapologetically me. I want you to be unapologetically you, whoever you are. Know your worth. Command your space. Mija, you're worth it.
Biden says that the biggest threat to the United States is white supremacy, so maybe the CIA should be focused on that. This Latina mother with social anxiety disorder, God, if she could just run their operations in South America, she might protect us and Latin South Americans from the CIA's like unblemished record of good works in South America. Operation Condor, for example. It's so... At face value, it's an overcorrection of reparations for years of oppression. LGBT community, all this identity politics stuff. It's like, okay, let's overcorrect. Like there's so much fucked up shit that's happened. We're allowed to just, maybe push a little much. Like all white people are bad, everything's racist. Just to gain some power and entrench ourselves in society and try to right the wrongs of the past. Okay. But like intrinsically, it's a propaganda model that's designed to inculcate the establishment. Like from any question of impropriety or disintegrity, or being completely like I am Black Lives Matter, and if you disagree with anything I say, you're against Black lives or you're racist. That type of thing. It's very manipulative. Drape yourself in identity politics and you can do no wrong. It's fucked up. Sometime around 2014, things started to change. That's really when this started to happen. Social media also picked up right at this time. And it really empowers those that don't have power. Particularly younger people that are disenfranchised, you feel part of something. It's incredibly, it's messed up. But should the U.S. try to overthrow Nicolas Maduro, president of Venezuela, who just got a samurai sword from Steven Seagal? Maybe that's a reason to overthrow him. It's mess with Steven Seagal. We don't like him. The women and children of Venezuela that try to defend him when we go in for the coup attempt, maybe they end up being anti-Black Lives Matter and their deaths are justified. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, if David Fowler can be accused of being a racist, just because he was a defensive expert for Chauvin's defense team, but at the same time found the cops guilty in the Freddie Gray situation in Baltimore, but still be labeled racist. I don't know. I mean, anything's possible. God, but I mean, CIA, like, it's what is her being a single mother and Latina and having like mental health problems have anything to do with, like, it almost like lowers the standard. It's like, so who you are doesn't matter, but who you are matters. Like, I've worked really hard. I'm Latina. I went to Harvard. I graduated from Harvard School of not me, obviously, but someone. I graduated from Harvard School of Kennedy Government. Blah 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 blah. I'm Clarice Starling. Whatever, something. Right? I'm Carita Starlina, and now there's this bitch on TV talking about how she's like underqualified, but she's also a single mom and Latina, and it's like, just because I didn't do as well on my SATs and I went to like city college and I'm a single mom and I have schizoaffective disorder does not, I do not check boxes. I'm not a box checker. That doesn't define me. It seems like you just defined yourself by checking boxes. Yeah, I'm Latina, I'm crazy. I'm just kidding. I have social anxiety disorder. I'm a single mother. Box. Like, you can't have both ways. You can't say it's like identity, like, sexuality, like your skin color. These things don't matter, but at the same time they matter. Like, that's the fucked up thing, and it's so like it's like you don't define people by what they look like or what they do or how they choose to love another person. You judge them based on their actions and how they treat other people. Period. It's just like it's like, what is the point of this video? It doesn't have anything. It seems like it has nothing to do with recruiting Latina women for the CIA. No, it's also so specific. If that's a recruitment video, you're asking for a very specific dynamic of people. Like, I don't think that's supposed to encourage a bunch of like black men to join the CIA. It's very weird. It's like, oh well, look at that disenfranchised person get at the CIA, and there's a black man who's like, oh, I feel so empowered by that. She speaks to me. Does she? It's like the same idea of Proposition 8 in California. Like, why did Prop 8 get voted down? Was it Prop 8 voting for Prop 8 was against gay marriage or voting against it? But black voters in California voted against gay marriage. Like, this whole idea of like all minorities are one group. It's weird. It's almost not designed for each individual minority group. It's designed for white middle-class Americans, young millennials, to be like indoctrinated. That's the goal, like idealistic young people of larger majorities of the population. That's what it's designed to do. It's like, oh look, they're all they're all oppressed, and it's my job to right the wrongs. Middle-class white person that goes to Vassar. Like, that's like, well, Vassar's really nice school. I mean, you still go to Vassar. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the thing. It's like, it's not genuine. It's just kind of gross. I don't know. Like, do whatever you want, but don't start like pointing fingers like everyone's evil because of their skin color, or everyone's amazing because of their skin color. Like, that's cut it down. Just pick spots of race. Like, be specific. Like, that's racist. Okay, why was it racist? Don't just say that this is systemic. It's too generic. It's like look at systemic race. Like Freddie Gray. Like, the cops were black. Some of them were his childhood friends, and the defense attorney determined that it was a homicide, that they acted inappropriately. You win on all grounds, objectively. You don't need masking or racism. It's just a bad situation all around. But it's power. It's power. It's power. I'm say it's power. Florida teen faces potential serious prison time after allegedly rigging, I love this one, homecoming queen vote with mom's help. Emily Rose Grover, 18, was still a minor when she and her mother Laura hacked into the public school district computer system, high school computer system, back in October 2020. Homecoming time in October. Homecoming court vote was manipulated by the teen and her mother. District flagged hundreds of suspicious votes. 117 of the votes for one high school came from the same IP address. Fucked up. Come on. Tech savvy enough, you can't hide your IP address or like spread it out. Come on. Virtual machine, VPNs, step it up. You're not buying blocks of heroin off of the dark web. It's homecoming. It's way bigger than that. Emily and her mother face counts of computer offense against user of computers, unlawful use of two-way communications device, and criminal use of identifiable information. Also, conspiracy to rig a homecoming queen vote. Both the mother and daughter will be tried as adults with a maximum sentence of 16 years. Homecoming. I mean, they really went big, like Madoff big. You know, there's all the money. There's lots of money, and wait, there's no money in that. Status. There's no power. There's no. I mean, it's like, what were they thinking? Like, it's like the mom should know better. She's an adult. She knows what's valuable. Being homecoming. Oh, but what if she's trying to right the wrongs from her own childhood, her own high school experience? Like, just get back at those sluts of the cheerleading squad from Colby High 1965. It's like, honey, if you do this and you become queen, the QB, the quarterback of the high school, will date you and you have a chance to get out. You have a chance to have the life I never had. Something like that. But no, they're both going to prison. It's crazy. It's like, what? It's like, oh man, it's like, if you're gonna commit fraud, you go big, get the money, go after the money. Don't just like, so stupid. Oh my goodness, like it's so low. It's like, what if it was middle school? If it was middle school, it would just be the worst. Like the middle school thing, that would have been psycho. Safer because the daughter won't be tried as an adult. The mother, I mean, she loses that relationship, starts to develop like detachment disorder. This might be worse. I don't know. That's so messed up. Oh my goodness. Trump, he's launched his social media platform. Well, sort of. Trump launched a blog from the desk of Donald Trump. That's the name of it. A beacon of freedom, a place to speak freely and safely. Although the new social media site does not allow readers to reply or communicate amongst themselves. Guess this is on par with what a narcissist would think social media is all about. Platform for me, by me, with me as the only member. Subscriber growth? No thank you. That's for the fascists at Twatter and Fuckbook. I don't know. Is Fuckbook real? I see like the ads for it when I'm surfing. I don't know. When I'm looking, you know, at educational videos. All the same pop-up stuff like Fuckbook. If anyone knows Fuckbook or how I can like view it without getting malware, that's why I don't click on it because I'm afraid of viruses. Fucking Windows, Bill Gates. You know, comment in the section below. I want to peruse this Fuckbook. It's interesting. Facebook's oversight board upheld on Wednesday Donald Trump's ban, but said the company overall long-term has to decide in the next few months whether they will ban Trump permanently. I say you should. If he's going to keep developing this platform at all, if a real social media site's going to come out that's interactive, you don't want to give a platform to a competitor. It's like Jack Dorsey doesn't go on Facebook talking about how adrenochrome from 12-year-old boys makes his beard shimmer. Like, he doesn't do that. He'll tweet that on Twitter. That's his thing. I don't give a competitor platform. I also love, like, this in terms of this, you know, politics. Like, well, we're going to kick the can down the road in terms of banning the guy permanently. I guess they're going to allow him to screw up because now he can say stuff that's up. Like, he just said this thing on his new site. We think it's very inappropriate, and it's just best that we don't allow him on our platform. He's going to say something. Something's going to happen where he's going to comment on it, and it's going to be very divisive. And like, see, that's a risk for national security. We can't allow that. We are talking about the president just a few months ago. The president of the United States was accused of being a national security threat by a private company and deplatformed or blocked, or he was silenced by private companies. The president of the United States, the guy who can like force major networks to run his shit when there's like a national emergency or whatever. It's like, President of the United States, good evening. UFOs have landed and they are probing butts everywhere. I encourage everyone to stay at home and wear their anal masks. Thank you. I'm Joe Biden and I approve this message. But it's just like, this is what's happening. Isn't that like, no one talks about how amazing that is? That should be like in the history books ever. The first time a president was usurped in terms of power by private companies, and an area where his voice was determined to be a national security threat. Like that, it's not just like, oh, they blocked him, they don't like, no, they said he's a threat. Cray cray. What did Biden say about January 6th? That it was the worst, like, terrorist attack on the United States since the Civil War? Like worse than 9/11? Like, I said something like ridiculous. I'm like, dude, what is that dude on? Every time I see him talk, like, he's slow as fuck. I'm gonna mix milk with Bang. Should I roll with a cigarello? Getting late. Why not? Do you mind? It's not a cigarette, a cigarello. What is his deal? Like, how can you take this guy seriously? There's one video where Trump is clearly tired. He's not on his Adderall, and it's very sad. It's very, very sad. He sounds like Joe Biden. They're 4 years age difference. One of them is like on point, one of them is not. He's just so tired. It's like, how do you think this guy is like running things? This guy's exhausted. It's not like he just did something. He's just tired all the time. He had trouble walking upstairs. Man, I'm Joe Biden's wife, and I approve this message. Can't be a dog owner. Today, I was petting a dog, and then I saw another dog I wanted to pet. I walked up to someone that I knew and pet their dog. I didn't have to say, can I pet your dog, right? Just did it. Then I did it again to this, group of people, and I could tell, I didn't know them, but I just did it. I was, casually, I just walked up, and they're like, hi, buddy, hey, what's going on? They were like, what are you doing? Without saying it. You're an adult. You're not a kid that can just go up to people's dogs. That's my son. You can't just pet my son on the head. I don't know you, weirdo, pedophile, whatever. It sucks. I used to my dog when he'd go for walks. If you wanted to go in someone's backyard, I would just walk into their backyard. I wouldn't stop him from going anywhere. Walk in someone's front yard. If someone was my dog wanted to walk into someone's house. They got their mail and my dog happened to follow them, I'd walk into their house. That's where he wanted to go. I don't want to deny him. He only gets to go on so many walks, 2 or 3 a day. I'm not going to deny him shit like that. Oh man, it's I feel bad. It's like sympathy pain. I want him to have fun and enjoy life. Sucks being an adult. You can't pet other people's dogs. I think you're crazy. Whenever I see someone that has the dog harness that's on their back, I'm like, oh, those people are so good. They care. They don't want a choker. Whenever my girlfriend used to wear the thing where I put the leash on her. I'm just kidding. No, it's but you know what I mean. I feel there's so many simple pleasures, and why do you have to alienate yourself from other people when you get older? Why can't you just? Why does it have to? Why can't you be more gregarious or intertwine? Just go up to people you don't know and be hi, without seeming a fucking weirdo. You know what I mean? Just hey, what's up? Not oh, you're a new neighbor. There's no reason for it. You're just hi. I used to ingratiate myself in conversations when I was in college, and the two people would say a girl was say hi to a friend, enters a Starbucks, right? She's hi, and I'm right next to her. I wave too, and instantly 2 parties don't know that I don't know either one of them. I would act like The girl next to me, I'm friends with, and the girl across assumes I'm friends with her. And the girl next to me assumes I'm friends with the girl that she just said hi to. And then the conversation eventually breaks off, and I go back to my table, and they talk amongst themselves, and they come up to me and say, hey, we don't know you. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, well, what? That's fucked up. Why were you acting like we knew you? I'm like, I just thought it was fun. I enjoyed it. And they're like, well, but that's weird. I'm like, I don't care. I really liked it. I thought it was funny as hell. It's funny when people like get upset by things like that, but it's the same with the dogs. Like, just to entertain you work this job, you come home, someone's walking their dog, like, hey, I gotta get home. I don't need, I'm trying to walk the dog and get it over with. Get it over with for what? To then do what? So you can numb out in front of the Netflix? You should enjoy walking your dog. Someone likes to say hi to your dog. Should make you feel good vicariously. Like your dog's happy that someone's petting it because your ass, like lazy hands, aren't giving him the good, proper rub down. Little belly rub, scratch by the ears. What's wrong with that? It's so weird that you feel like you're a weirdo. Like, am I like sexually assaulting like this person's son by touching their dog that I don't know? So it's really intrusive. Like it's like how is it's like a person? Like what? That's what I feel like. Am I crazy or do I get that impression? Like you guys know what I mean? Like you just can't go up to people's dogs anymore if you don't know them. You have to, may I pet your dog? That's fucking weird. May I pet your dog? What the fuck is that? That's weird. You shouldn't have to say that. May I pet your dog? Especially if it's like a little like cockapoo. It's not gonna bite you. It's like a little like Jack Russell. May I pet your dog? Oh no, he's vicious. Really? Come on. It's just I understand some like procedure. It's like a Rottweiler or like a bull mastiff, but like come on, like oh man, we're so being an adult sucks. It just I don't know. Also, all the things that you find are fun are so not like I don't know. Like I like to play tennis and pretend I'm a professional tennis player. It's like a delusion. Like I dress up like in the kits that they have, right? Like Nike's kit for the Australian Open for that year. I'll dress up like that and pretend I'm Roger Federer. I like that. I want to pretend. Why can't I pretend? Why does it have to be this like big thing? Like I'm crazy. Like why does that have to be the thing? Like oh, no, you should practice and grind out and work on your footwork and get better. But like I'm playing for fun. Why can't I just pretend? Of course I can. I should be able to pretend. But everything's like, other than like certain things like that, it's like the fun when you get older is really like dark, like drinking and drugs and like spending lots of money and there's all these like hedonistic things that, I don't know, the money is so weird. I'll leave with this. The money is weird. The money is weird because you have to work for the money. And then when you're not working, you're losing your edge. You're spending the money. It's like you're like, it's a vicious cycle of I make the money, I can't spend it and live lazy and just chill because then I lose my edge. And then I stop making the money stops coming, or like I waste my life. Like that's the other thing. If you've made enough money, you don't have to do anything. You do nothing. It's like you're not really contributing or helping society. There's a guilt there. And then like you're wasting your talents. As you get older, you realize, you can't just lay on an island and screw models. So it doesn't, you get empty as you get older because you realize you could have done more. You're talented, you're capable. But then at the same time, if you give that money to your family, then your kids become lazy. And then they don't achieve their potential. It's like, even as well as you can raise them, like there's not going to be as like cunning or as like cold-hearted, like as aggressive. It's like, what is the point of it? It's like, it's really funny how like, just in terms of cyclicality, like the whole idea of like success and like hard work is competitive, but that end is antithetical to happiness. It just is. It objectively is. That a woman starts like, being comfortable in her lifestyle, and then like you realize like your wife is enjoying your money and like you don't get to spend time with her because you have to make the money. And then like you start feeling like your self-worth is about how much money you have, and then it's like that's all you are. And it's like your health, your sense of happiness, all the joys you had in childhood are gone because it's all about like my status. Like for a lot of people, there is this thing, like, objectively, the real thing, the funny thing about selling success, selling like personal development shit, it is a snake eating its own tail, because ultimately that can't be it. Your life cannot just be, I'm a hedge fund guy. It can't. I'm sorry, it just can't. Like jumping out of helicopters to go skiing, and like, I don't know, just like being present, like waking up the next day and not feeling like working, just like staying in bed with someone that you love and watching Netflix all day and going for a walk. Like, that is so much more fulfilling. It really is. And not feeling like you guilting yourself into, I'm not doing enough. And the people that are only happy when they're miserable, like when they're producing, that too is like a self-sacrifice that is ultimately like, kind of like think of Daniel Day-Lewis, like, I just want to make shoes and retire from acting. Like, would not be surprised if one day like Elon Musk says, all right, I'm done. I just want to do adult coloring books, and that's what I want to do, and like that's what makes me happy. Like something like I don't want to do this like I want to just like do something that's not saving the world from itself, you know? Ultimately, you have to have this balance, and unfortunately, to get the balance, you have to like not be balanced. Like that's sort of the thing they teach you in terms of is like competing to get to something, and you have to shut it off. You have to shut it off. And I think it would benefit people more if they're like, fuck it, I don't care about like your decorum or your Emily Post version of dog petting once I hit 30. I'm gonna pet your fucking dog whenever I want to pet your fucking dog, and that's what I'm gonna do because it makes me happy and it makes your dog happy. And that's the whole point of you going out on the fucking walk anyway. It's nothing to do with you. It's about the dog, you fuck. So I'm gonna pet your fucking dog. All right. Subscribe down below. Have a good one. Deplorar.com. Please go watch Jeremy Friggins' videos. He's great. And yeah, stay fabulous. All right, guys. Bye.